Here we go. Today we're going to talk about a core value here that we have, one of our 7 here at TLC.
Give every challenge everything you've got. You want challenges. You eat challenge for breakfast.
This is huge, man. At the very least, take accountability with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I could have did better.
It should be a natural hunger in you.
This is my jam right here, man. This is the discussion that we have every single Monday based on one of our core values here that we love and we look at for guidance and try to keep everybody focused on here at Total Life Changes. And the core value, there were 7 of them, but the one that we are focusing on today that I really like to start my day with is gratitude. And so the core value itself is grateful is our mindset, right? It reminds us to always be grateful and have that grateful mindset. And here's the message that we're kind of focusing on when it comes to that core value today. Write a short note to someone who's had a positive impact on you. Even if you've never sent it, putting your thoughts into words brings clarity. And if you do send it, there's a good chance it'll make their day.
Wow.
So this is kind of almost like, instead of a philosophy,
Yeah.
this is more like, hey, guys, like here's something you can do today that can have a huge impact on your life and someone else's. Like they say here, even if you don't send it,
Yep.
just like connecting your heart with your mind and saying, man, I'm so grateful for this person because of blank, 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 blank.
Yeah.
Carl, I'm going to let you take it since you're the senior on staff here.
I got to tell you. So this immediately brought me back to when I was in college. I was a 10-year college dropout, and I got back in, and I got the chance. If you're wondering why I do what I do today, I got the chance to tell my godmother what an enormous impact she's had on my life. Now, this was a school assignment, right? And so I did it for school, but I added it to life because stopping to think about what she meant. Now, this young lady, way back in the 1970s, started calling me Preacher Carl. I was 6 years old, and she started calling me Preacher Carl. We didn't no official service, declaration, or anything. She just started calling me Preacher Carl from something very simple I said in her primary Sunday school class. But that moniker, that label, having that kind of stuck with me, and I knew it was certain stuff Preacher Carl couldn't do, You know, we don't do that in holiness. So having it and writing it down, it made me feel so good, the conversation we had afterwards, that I do it all the time now.
That's great.
I say it like this: no one ever is going to not know how I feel about them. And we get social media. We have texting now. I said in my book, what if God sped up the technology of phones? Right? I remember when my dad passed back in 2005, 2003. Phone technology was not that good. We were still clipping cameras onto them. We had a little bag that we carried. We want to take a picture, clip the camera, and go from there to now. What if God absolutely sped up phone technology so we could see how easy it is to stop and tell them thank you, to stop and tell people how much you love them, to stop, how quick you can do it, right? In the thought. Twitter, everybody had 140 characters, but look how it blew up. That's all you need. That's all it takes, that little bit of time. You don't need no money to make somebody's day. All you need is to put those thoughts into writing. And I love how it said, I don't know who wrote this, but if you don't send it, even if you never send it, what is that? That's therapy.
Yeah.
Like journaling, I just got into journaling. And unfortunately, some of you are recipients of my journal. My apologies.
Yeah, you send me some of your journal sometimes on a weekly basis.
But
send me like a paragraph.
It's therapeutic.
It is.
To look at it. But then when you send it, it's therapeutic writing it for you. But when you send it, it blesses somebody else.
Yeah, I think that, man, like I agree with you, man. Like, who would think that, right? Like, even if you never send it. So you write these thoughts down about another human being that has impacted you in a positive way, even if you don't send it to them. Now, some of you are probably thinking like, well, why wouldn't you send it? Well, maybe you're shy. Maybe they live in a different country. Maybe they're sleeping right now. Whatever there's a reason there, right? Maybe they're in prison. I mean, there's lots of different reasons, right? Yeah, that too. But seriously, like there's something therapeutic and special and puts you in this grateful mindset towards another person. Now, many of you guys know this about me. I started this, I want to say it's been about 5 years that I've been doing this. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember if I heard it from someone and I said, this is a good idea, I'm going to start doing it or whatever. But somewhere around 5 years ago in my life, every time I go out to dinner or lunch or breakfast with anybody, and I'm paying, which is quite often, by the way, the paying part.
We should go to lunch.
This is a smart guy right here. So anyway, so if I go out to breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and I'm paying, and so I'm a people watcher, and I watch their spirit, not just what they're doing. And if I have a waiter or a waitress that does a good job, even if they do a couple things wrong, I always remember 2 or 3 things that they did great. And so I started writing after I signed my name to pay, and I fill in the tip. And by the way, like I'm pretty generous if you do a good job, especially if you're doing a good job from the heart. Yep. Right. Yep. And the steak could be overcooked or the potatoes came late, but if I know you're genuinely trying to do your best, like I'm a sucker for that. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I started writing after I signed my name and fill in the tip. I would put, if the receipt was small, I would put on there, please turn over in parentheses. And then I would flip, or if the receipt had room, I would just write this on the receipt or in whatever you want to call it, the slip. And I would write stuff like, now I got smart at this because sometimes, you forget their names. Let's say Samantha is serving you and you're like, man, what was her name? If you look at the receipt, it says server Samantha, right? A lot of places, right? So that's a little trick for you guys. But anyway, so I started writing little notes. Samantha, thank you very much for a lovely evening. I thought it was great how you smiled every time you came to the table. I've gone out to eat a lot, and you're by far one of the best waitresses we've ever had. My family really appreciates great service, and we look forward to getting served from you in the future. Yeah, something like that, right? And so I start doing this, and you're doing it for the most part because like, this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it, right? And then sometimes like you're not sure if they saw. Every restaurant's different. Maybe someone else runs the card. This receipt's going in a pile. That person never sees it, right? But you're good with it. You're just like, hey man, I did my duty. I know this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it, right? Yeah. But this one time, I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago, we went to like one of these trendy TikTok places, right? Oh, my kids really wanted to go. They're like, hey, we should go here, right? And I'm like, why are we going there? And they're like, oh, because, like the drinks are great. And, they put strawberries with a toothpick and then you Instagram it and all that stuff. All right. So we go there. And I'll never forget this. So we go there. We had a good time. The waitress, she broke a glass. Okay. And she was obviously very visibly disturbed, and it kind of carried over into the whole evening, right? Like for the next hour, she was kind of like nervous and all that stuff, right? So anyway, I read her one of my John Licari notes. By the way, my penmanship sucks. So I'm always like, I hope I can read this. So I write her one of my John Licari notes, and we're leaving. And as we're walking out the door, now, by the way, I gave her a pretty good tip too.
I believe it.
As we're walking out the door, she's kind of in a group of 3 or 4 waitresses, and they're all kind of like, like some restaurants, like they're prepping the silverware for the next day, right? They're wrapping it in the napkins.
You're talking to the server and me. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So she looks over at us as we're leaving, and she's crying.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, she's crying, right? And she gave me a hug. This person that was a stranger, right? Like just an hour ago, and she said, "Thank you very much. I had a really bad day." And your note really made my day. Listen, man.
Did you cry? Number one.
A little bit. I never, like, if I was looking for, like, when you're looking for confirmation, does this even matter? Does it even make an impact? Does anybody even care? Do they think it's corny? Sometimes my kids are embarrassed. Dad, you're writing one of your notes again? Yeah. But then you get confirmation and you're like, okay, I am never not writing a note ever again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't care, man. I do it in front of my friends. I do it in front of my family. And, some people like giggle about it. Look at Carl. I inspired Carl to do it, right? But again, it's one of those things where I know how these restaurants work. At least 50% of the time, I don't even think the server sees it.
Yeah.
But so what? Right? But that one person, man, that one
in a million
person, right? That you impact, right? Like it reminds me of that story that we've shared, I think, on the show at least once before, where there's this young boy, all of these starfish, washed up on shore, and he's taken, and he knows, this little kid knows, like these starfish are going to die if they don't get back in the water. And he's just grabbing them and throwing them back in the water. But there's thousands. Yeah. And this old man walks by. This kid, you're never going to save all those starfish. And the kid looks at this old man who's supposed to be wiser. And he says, yeah, but to that one right there that I just threw in, it makes all the difference in the world.
Facts.
We don't drop mics here because they're on a stand.
Yeah.
But
that needs to be changed.
I'm dropping that mic right there. Can I put it on the side? It's going to make noise. It's going to mess up.
That's a Carl Brown.
There you go. It's going to mess up our audio quality on the rebroadcast, but we'll go with it.
I did that, and I sent it to John for my birthday dinner, and I wrapped it around old school phrasing, WWJD. What would John do?
Yeah,
and I wrote on my receipt.
By the way, I think it's really important to finish off this conversation by saying this. It helps you stand out as a person too, because very few people do that. But I don't want to be the only one doing it, right? So I want people to do this.
Yeah.
Because, man, I'm telling you, people are mean.
Yeah.
Man, if you listen, man, we all have differences of opinions and all that stuff, but man, if you really pay attention, because I pay attention, you know, maybe I pay attention a little bit too much. You know, I'll overhear the table next to me and stuff, and it's like, you know, people don't say please, they don't say thank you. People are like expecting you to serve them because they're paying you. I get it. I understand that thought process. I don't agree with it though.
No.
Right? Like gratitude, man. Like they're serving you. They're doing their feet hurt. Like they're humbling themselves and serving another human being. They're doing it with a smile, right? Like in Michigan, as an example, servers here get paid $3 an hour plus tips. So I don't know how it is in your state, but here it's $3 an hour plus tips.
Yeah.
And if the restaurant's not busy, it's $3.
Monday.
Right? It's legal. They're allowed to do that because you make tips. But if you don't make tips, you don't make tips.
You don't make tips.
Right? The restaurant is not liable for that. Right? And so, you know, but again, you know, you'd be surprised a few nice words can really change someone's perspective, not just on the day, on their life, on humanity. Right? It can really give people hope. Like, okay, there's some good people out there because, you know what? I've dealt with some real jerks today.
Yeah.
I've dealt with some real jerks this month, you know, and it starts to make you start to think in a way that you don't want to think.
Yeah.
You know, so how do we get people back on track? By doing stuff like this.
You know who that affects the most? The people who are serving.
That's it, man.
So we're talking to you, life changers.
That's it, man.
We're talking to you. Like the word says like this, in everything give thanks. Like everything doesn't have to go right. Everything doesn't have to go good. But if you're grateful in your small spaces, like this young lady, Zainab was, if you're grateful in your small spaces, it trains you to be grateful in the hard spots too.
Amen, my friend. Amen, my friend. Amen. All right, guys. That's all we got for you guys this week. Thanks for joining us for Mindset Minutes. Thanks for joining us here for Total Life Changes Mindset Mondays. Hopefully we got you guys in the right mindset. We got you fired up and enthusiastic for the week.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is not guaranteed. Neither was today. So live in it to the fullest. Enjoy it. Even if you're doing hard labor today, try to smile, make a new friend, serve someone, make an impact in your community, write someone a great note, tell them how great they are, tell them how they've impacted you in a positive way. You would be surprised, man, how much that can light up the world and your community by doing some small little things like that.